spine.
What up, Camp Gladiator? This is your trainer, Madeline. I'm going to show you a few fundamental movements that are really going to improve your overall fitness, and we're going to make sure that we do a little form check on each and every one. So when you are performing these exercises out of camp, we want to make sure that you're doing them with proper form and technique. The first one is a lunge. So when you do your lunge, you want to step out nice and far. This knee should be right in line with your ankle. You should be able to wiggle the toes of your front foot, and the energy to move, either project yourself forward or backward, comes from the heel of that front foot. So you're going to push yourself back, or in the case of a walking lunge, you're going to stand straight up and straight down. The problem lies when you take it into a lunge and you lean forward. Some people even have your hands right here. If this is how you perform your lunge, you might want to take your hands back behind your head. That way you won't be tempted to lean on them during your lunge. What you can also do, either out at camp, sweep it away, either out of camp or when you're at home, you can actually put a broom behind your back. You'll definitely know if you're keeping it nice and straight if your back stays on the broom. If you're leaning forward, you won't be able to keep your back on the broom. The second exercise is also a lower body exercise. It is the squat. All right? So you want to keep your weight back in your heels. Anytime you're going into a squat, you want your hips to go first. Your feet are going to be about shoulder or hip width apart, depending on the widest part of your body. For men, it's usually their shoulders. For women, it's their hips. You're going to keep your weight back in your heels. Your hips are going to go first. You're going to keep your abs tight to protect that lumbar spine, and you're going to push your hips down and back. At the very, very base of my squat, I should be able to wiggle my toes. You can go down a little bit farther past 90 degrees, but your goal should be able to have your thigh parallel to the ground. The third exercise is a push-up. So in a push-up, you want to make sure that your chest is going all the way down to the ground or the mat. You want to get a full range of motion each time, whether you need to do that on your knees or do it from your toes. So from the front, your hands are going to be right outside your shoulders. Your spine is going to be in alignment, meaning you're not looking down and you're not looking up. You're going to drop the chest down to the mat. Your elbows are going back, all right? We do not want to see chicken wings. You want to keep your elbows in nice and tight. Your wrists stay in line with your elbows. Exhale as you come up. Another thing that's very common is you want to keep your shoulders locked in your shoulder blades. So a very common thing we see is your shoulders coming out of those sockets before you come down. Or you come out of the sockets and then your hips sag. A really important thing to do in the push-up is to make sure that your abs are super, super tight so that you can come up and down all in one piece. One way, if you feel yourself breaking at the shoulders, is to strengthen all those little stabilizer muscles around your shoulder blades. At CG, we work large muscle groups because that's what is appropriate for most people. Now, if your chest is popping out of those shoulder blades during your push-up, there is a simple exercise you can perform with a band. It is simply scapular depression. So you're going to be out here, slight bend in your elbows, and you're just going to retract your shoulders. Keeping those abs tight, just like you did in your push-up. That will help strengthen all of those muscles around your shoulder blades, particularly if you are someone who sits at a desk for all or most of the day. Those muscles around your shoulders tend to be looser as you hunch over. Even if you start at the beginning of the day and your shoulders are nice and rolled back, periodically remind yourself throughout the day, because as you get fatigued throughout the day, you'll want to make sure that you're pressing those shoulders back. You can do this exercise without a band right at your desk as well. If you have questions about any of these exercises, please feel free to reach out to me via email or phone call. I'd be happy to set up a time to meet with you where we can talk about this and other health-related issues. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon.